I got oil on the chain. I got air in the tires. I got news for you, baby. You're looking at the man.
Mama, when are they starting?
Good morning. Welcome to the Hobart Commuter. Today's topic, cycling and elitism. Two questions. First question, are cyclists or do cyclists perceive themselves as elite? If not, second question, do other road users perceive cyclists as being elite? Okay, so before we begin, let's just get in behind this car. We'll have to define the two terms so that we make sure that we're on the right page. Number one, cycling, exhibit A, that's what we're doing. Number two, elitism, that's probably a little bit more difficult to define. There's a few different meanings with that. The one I want to focus on today, or that I'm going to refer to, is elitism in the sense of an individual, or usually a group, that considers themselves, their beliefs, their morals, their ethics, their way of life, to be more superior, or to be superior to other groups. Yeah, so it's basically a snob, anyone who thinks they're better than someone else. Okay, so what got me thinking about this was an article in the Australian, a national newspaper here, written by our kind of resident demographer, Bernard Salt. So they did the census earlier this year, and they released the results, and then this Bernard Salt goes through the results and looks for different patterns, things to do with relationships, where the most single people are, where it might be easier to find love, things about religious clusters and that sort of thing, and really fascinating sort of social demographical information. So last week he did cycling, and one sort of interesting thing to come out of that is he looked at, I guess one of the big trends was women, that women are way up in terms of cycling. There are far more, a lot more women participating in cycling and commuting to work than the last census. I think it was something like an extra 20%, which is fantastic. Men have stagnated, so the number of men commuting to work via bicycle did not change since the last census. Disappointing. Men still outnumber women, 3 to 4 on the road. But that's not what I want to talk about, I'm digressing. Alrighty, so the data that I did actually want to talk about was basically an income profile of bicycle commuters. And that was graphed alongside an income profile of all commuters. And really interesting graph. So what it showed was from about $0 to $65,000, both the commuters and the all commuters rose steadily. Okay, so they peaked at about that 65,000. And beyond that, that was the point at which now I just crossed lines there during an intersection, that's not cool. That was the point at which the lines diverged. So the all commuters, after about $65,000, started to descend. That's probably because there's fewer people who are in that kind of higher income bracket. I don't know, I don't really understand statistics so well. But the bicycle commuters continued, more or less, continued to rise, showing that people in those higher income brackets had a much higher representation of bicycle commuters. So to the point that essentially what the data showed was about half of all bicycle commuters are high income earners. Now that's a massive percentage of people. So there's an overrepresentation of people on bikes who are high income earners. Now when I say high income earner, I'm saying that above $65,000. So trying to get back to, relate it back to this elitism, I think I'm kind of losing my way a little bit here. But you might rightly argue, well, why am I talking about income in relation to elitism? Because, just wondering whether to split that corridor. I don't think so. I don't think that's a very good idea. So you could argue that wealth and elitism, there's no correlation between those two. And you'd probably be right. I mean, for example, you can be a poor uni student and you can read, high literature like Dostoevsky or something like that. And then there might be a very successful businessman who reads sports biographies. In which case, the student's going to feel he's going to look down upon the reading choices and the culture of the businessman. So he might be accused of being elite. However, I think because we live in this, you live in a capitalist society and money is so much bound up with success that I think if you earn a lot of money, there is a lot of, there is a lot of status associated with that. So money does bestow upon people who have a lot of it a certain high regard for themselves and a high regard in the eyes of others. Which brings me to the point, which I'll come to after these lights. So given that half of all bicycle commuters are higher income earners, does that make them elite? The answer is I don't know. I don't think so. I can only really answer for myself. I don't think it's fair really to answer for all of the cyclists, and I can't judge from their behaviour whether or not it's elite or not. They don't seem to be an exclusive group. To the second point though, do you think are they perceived as being elite? Probably. Again, gets back to that whole idea of wealth and privilege being equated with elitism. I think, higher income earners have more disposable income, so they're more likely to spend a bit more money on, oh wow, they're waiting for me, that's very nice. They're more likely to spend a bit more money on the bikes. So what you tend to see then is a lot of riders on the road who look like they've just swerved off the course of the Tour de France. So I'm not really sure if I had a coherent argument there or not, if indeed I had any argument. But I'll just close with, I think there's definitely the perception that cyclists could be perceived as elite. Again, the clothes they wear, anything to do with lifestyle choices as well. It's perceived as healthy. It is healthy, so people might feel themselves judged because of that and would be quick to accuse or jump on any group that didn't conform to their ways. Do I consider myself elite? Absolutely not. I can honestly say that. I mean, I'm pretty privileged in my background, but to be honest, man, when you get on a bike and you get out into the street, you do not feel elite or privileged. You feel extremely vulnerable, and you have to submit to the will of most road users, obviously being cars, simply because you just have to, otherwise you're going to get killed. So you can go in with an elite mindset if you want, but it's only going to get you in big trouble. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.